There are times that we are simply going to have to fight for our mental health. We have five fingers, and each of these fingers are very useful on their own. But, baby, if you want to fight, you're going to have to make a fist. And let's start with that smallest finger. It actually means small, that pinky. It doesn't point at others all arrogantly like the pointer finger. It does not wear itself a gold and diamond band so important like the ring finger does. It doesn't stick itself up all rude like that middle finger does. It's just so small. And yet, as small as it is so strong. I'll prove it to you. Try and do some pull ups without using your pinky finger, and you'll see that you have a very difficult time doing it. As a matter of fact, if you were to lose that pinky finger, you would lose 50% of your hand strength. The pinky finger, as small as it is a representation of confidence. Confidence in what you thought was too small, confidence in what you did not think was showy enough, confidence in what you did not think was good enough. The pinky finger reminds us that we are to have confidence, yes, in our God-given talents, and yes, even in our small beginnings. Then we have what is known as the fourth finger, aka that ring finger, right? The ring finger primarily represents exactly what you would think, relationships. Its primary purpose is to support the action of our other fingers. I'm gonna prove it to you right now. If you were to take your hand and you would place it on its fingers, then bend that middle finger towards the palm of your hand. Try then to lift that thumb. No problem, right? Try to lift that pointer finger, still not an issue. You can even lift that pinky with no problem. But if you were to try to lift up that ring finger, you would not be able to do so because that ring finger is what is meant to show us that we're meant to be connected to others, and others are meant to be connected to us. None of us were ever meant to do life alone. Therefore, that ring finger represents relationships. And then we have the middle finger. The middle finger that sometimes we thought was meant in regard to rudeness and defiance, instead is meant to be a representation of balance. Yeah, balance. If you're going to shift, you're going to have to work in the middle. If you're going to shift, you're going to have the ability to pivot from the left to the right or up or down. That middle finger is a representation of balance in our lives. And then we have what is known as the index or the pointer finger. Pointer finger, point. That's what it's known as. And the reason we call it that is because it does so easily point. It looks like correction. It looks like beckoning someone to come here. Index, meaning point out, is why we have to be so careful, because it's easy to point a finger at others. It's easy to pull that trigger to hit somebody else, but it's much more difficult to deal with self. This is why the index finger is a stark reminder that we need accountability, because in all of its quickness to render judgment, the pointer finger is what is often injured more often than the rest. When there is little accountability, you will injure yourself. Yes, that index finger represents accountability. And finally, we have the thumb. The thumb is that muscular finger, and it has great range of movement. Thumbs are called opposable, in fact, because they're able to touch each and every other finger. It gives us the ability to grasp things, to pick up things, to eat, to write, to open up a door. The thumb is a great representation of faith, not only because of its muscular ability, but because even more so of its ability to touch every facet of our lives if we would simply allow it to. Faith should connect with every facet. It should connect with us spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And like faith, the thumb helps us to remain flexible. We will not jump to conclusions when faith is involved. It matters not how dark a situation is when faith is involved. Why? Because with faith, anything is possible. When faith touches even the smallest part of us, things change. When faith touches our relationships, things change. When faith touches our balance, things change. When faith touches our accountability, things change. When faith is involved in every facet of our life, we will be living our best life. Yes, that thumb represents faith. Now, if we were to take each of those fingers and put them all together, what do we have? We have a fist, and we are ready to fight. There was one night that I was struggling. I was in the fight of my life. And I was going down the highway about 75 miles per hour. And Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, I want to show you something. All right, what is it, God? I want you to put your hand out the window. And I did so. And I separated each one of my fingers. Not one was touching the other. Think about it in this way. There was confidence, there was relationships, there was balance, there was accountability, there was faith, but none of those things were touching. And because my hand was out there, separated in that way, the wind was able to easily blow against it, and my hand could barely stand the wind. And then the Holy Spirit said, now, Stacy, I want you to make a fist. Because if you're going to fight effectively, baby, you got to make a fist. You got to bind faith to every facet of your life. You must include relationships. You must include confidence. You must include balance. You must include accountability, but they all must be touching your faith. I want you to make a fist. And the moment I bound them together in a fist, no matter how hard the wind blew, my hand stood firm. It had power against the power of the wind, power against the power of the storm, power against the power of pain. And it stood stronger than what came against it. I encourage you today and every day, baby, you're going to have to make a fist. If you're going to fight, you're going to have to make a fist. If you're going to win, you're going to have to make a fist. If you're going to be successful, you're going to have to make a fist. You need confidence. You need relationships. You need balance. You need accountability. And we need faith touching each and every one of them. Baby, I encourage you, make a fist.